100, one swipe, throw it away. Ay, whip, till it.
Welcome back to the Sports Leek Podcast. I'm your host, Malik, aka Leek, aka Sports Leek. I'm here with my main man from Penn State, Long Island, Strong Island, Suraj Sharma, aka Raj. What's going on, bro?
Hey there, brother.
Good. Today we're here to talk about hockey. We're talking about the Isles. You know, I know, just start off light, I know you're a big, not supporter, I guess hater of the Golden Fisherman logo.
Yeah, that was some rough times, to be honest with you, back in the early 90s. Even the players didn't want to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people forget that part where they actually, when they went into the press conference, the players was the first time they saw it.
Yeah.
They're like, this is absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure Travis Green, who's now the coach of the Vancouver Canucks, was the first one who was totally against it.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to get another player, which was their biggest player at the time, which was Zygmunt Palffy, who refused to go. Because they'd seen it before, to be for the unveiling. So that was a terrible decision by them.
That's hilarious. Because usually in college, like, you'll see a lot of kids go to a school because they have really cool jerseys. Like Oregon, they have really cool football jerseys, so a lot of kids go just because of the jerseys. Or you go, some kids go to a certain school because they have really cool colors.
Yeah.
But I've never heard a pro avoid a whole franchise just because of the logo. I've never heard that before. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, well, he was already on the team, but I think a lot of players, there was a lot of reasons why players didn't come to the Islanders during those days. A, they were bad.
Mm-hmm.
B, the jerseys were terrible. And C, the Coliseum was starting to get run down.
Yeah.
So add all three together, and you just had one terrible franchise in the 90s. Except for 93.
Yeah. So like a hat trick of like failures, pretty much.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. Pun. So speaking of the Coliseum, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago that the Islanders moved to Brooklyn and Barclays?
I believe it was 2014. I remember because I was at the last game, but I can't remember the exact year. It was actually another Penn State of ours. His name was Victor Rodriguez came down. He really wanted to go.
Okay.
So
it was Victor?
Yeah. Very last game at the Coliseum. Just before they went to the playoffs against the Capitals. Which lost again. But yeah, then they went over to the Barclays Center, which has not been the most pleasant of moves.
Yeah, because they had that little section where the car is, and it like takes away a lot of seating, and it's like it's not designed for a hockey rink. The way it's set up is more designed for a basketball court and concerts too, but not really for a hockey rink.
Yeah, and adding the fact that it's got half the ice or half of one section is completely obstructed.
Yeah.
So if you're from, I think it's 203 until 227. You cannot see essentially from that face-off dot back. So if you're gonna sit in those seats, you literally can't see anything going on the boards, anything going on the net. So it's just a terrible place to sit. Obviously, if you go to a little bit of corner, so as you get to the corners, you get a little bit better view, but you still miss way too much.
Yeah, that is hilarious. It's like sitting behind a pole. Like, doesn't Fenway Park have like a pole where you're just like it's like there's a seat right behind the pole and you can't look around. You obviously can't see the game, but you're sitting behind the pole.
Yeah, I think out in, obviously the foul pole out in the right field, but I think there's also the stanchions.
Yeah, and like a steel beam too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing a game there, but I have toured it. Great stadium.
Really? I would like to go. I mean, the Mets had like a 7-line army outing over there last year.
Yeah, I mean they go lots of places. I think this year, obviously they go to Chicago. I think every year.
Oh, good.
I think they went to St. Louis in this last trip.
Okay.
Obviously, they go down to, for most of the Eastern teams, I believe, they go down to Washington, go down to Philadelphia. Not sure where else they're going to go, though.
Okay.
But they always have a big trip, and people buy tickets, and they caravan down. It's actually they buy the buses and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. So, back to the Isles. We went to that Islander, like, hangout in the city.
Yeah.
And we watched the Islanders sweep the Pens.
Yeah.
And like back when we were in college, the Pens were like a powerhouse. I mean, Penn State, Pittsburgh. I mean, like big Pens fans. So it was really cool to actually sweep them. So it was kind of like, I guess, not vindictive, but like, kind of like
revenge.
A little bit like revenge, kind of like in school. Like there were a lot of Pens repping really hard. So it was like pretty cool to like get a little payback.
Yeah, I agree. No, it definitely is if you factor the back in 2012-2013 season, I was playing the Penguins in the playoffs in the first round back at the Coliseum, and luckily enough, I was able to go, which
Nice.
was a heck of a atmosphere. I think I even texted you that it's just as loud as Beaver Stadium for like a smaller environment.
Whoa.
But I think they're also pumping up the music.
Yeah.
But we lost that series in 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, obviously the Islanders weren't that good. We had the playoffs again in 2015, 2016. And then, obviously now sweeping away essentially is the old guard.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Sid the Kid of getting Malkin.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many of getting Malkin jerseys I've seen just walking around campus at the hub, just in the quad, like on Beaver Ave, College Ave.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, well, if you recall, when we were at Harrisburg, it was all Philadelphia, Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because then when we went to transition over to State College, University Park, it was kind of split. I guess you obviously saw a lot of Penguins jerseys, but you also saw just as much because I guess the huge convergence of all of Pennsylvania coming together.
Right, because Harrisburg is a little bit more east Pennsylvania if you really like sit down the middle, and like UP, University Park main campus is like smack dab in the middle. So that's what makes a good point about having 50-50 split on campus, Yeah,
but I think both were just about 3 hours and change from each other.
Yeah.
Go from east to west.
Mm-hmm. So it was like a nice little clash between the two. So back to the playoffs. So we got swept. We sweep the Pens, and then we got swept by the Canes, which was a little frustrating.
Team of jerks, as they're calling themselves.
Remember I text you who scored that goal and he like patted the goalie on the head? Who scored that goal?
In this playoffs?
Yeah, against the Canes, the Hurricanes.
I don't recall, to be honest with you.
Okay, but
I may have been yelling and not paying attention.
Yeah. But then I remember after the sweep was complete, one of the Canes went back and tapped the Islander on the head, like tapped the goalie on the head. So it was like kind of like a little payback.
Yeah.
Which is, I can appreciate that being me being a trash talker. So like I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. So who do you have winning the Stanley Cup? Because now that the reigning champs are out, the Caps.
Yeah, that's a tough one. For the longest time, I think since after the Isles' first series, after the first round, I factored it to be after all the upsets and whatnot. It's the first time ever where the 1 and 2 seeds from both conferences were knocked out.
Right.
It was a wide open arena.
Right.
So I actually predicted the Blues, who've now made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay.
And the Bruins.
Okay.
As much as I don't want to see another parade going down Boston.
That Boston.
Yeah. I think they're gonna get another one. And it hurts me to say it.
Yeah.
That Bruins team is just way too good. They have the experience. They have great goaltending. Tuukka Rask is playing unbelievable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Veteran leadership, great defense. I mean, in that type of physicality in the playoffs, always wins.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Binnington, great story for this year for the Blues. Probably will be Rookie of the Year. But rookie goalie playing in the Stanley Cup, I just see going into Boston.
Right.
Don't see them coming out of that one alive.
Right. Do you think him being a rookie and his inexperience, he's just like he can play off like beginner's luck, or he can just like doesn't know what to expect, he just goes out and just goes balls to the wall?
I think that's what he said he's been doing lately. But you've seen some games where he gets absolutely shelled in the playoffs so far. So I think that works to an extent, but I think there's some times where he's just completely overwhelmed with whatever's going on.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, the Blues are, I think, a great team as well. I mean, they have one of, I think, the top 10 players in the game, and Vladimir Tarasenko. The guys got one heck of a shot.
Yeah.
And the release time is almost as good as, I think, of Connor David's.
Oh, wow.
David's, yeah.
Okay. So I know in March Madness, guard play is most important, like to help you advance and win the title.
Yeah.
What is it in hockey that is like you desperately need to in order to advance and win?
Goaltending.
Goaltending.
I think it's as easy as saying keep the puck out of the net. But good goaltending and timely scoring gets you very far. And one of the things my dad always said, in the playoffs, it's also about bruising bodies.
Okay.
Long 7-game series through 4 series of it. At some point, the body just wears down. And if you just keep going, eventually people just wear down, and that's how you get to win.
Speaking of which, I remember talking to you. We were at the game. I'm always going to talk to you.
Yeah.
So we're at Islanders games all the time, and I always notice like how fast players sub in and out. And like I'm a big basketball fan. I watch basketball a lot. Guys can play for 40 minutes, no problem.
Yeah.
But hockey players just constantly subbing in and out, So speak to it, because you played hockey when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Speak to it, like how much of it is like endurance, and like how important is endurance, because you just constantly subbing in and out. Like talk to me like how hard it is.
I mean, I think average shift is about 30 to 45 seconds.
Wow.
Sometimes you'll see some players, go for about a minute and a half, but that's just, then you're kind of tired for the next two shifts. You'll see it with some players where they'll go very hard for that long and then they have to come off very quickly on their next shift. I mean, I think the main reason is because you're just constantly moving in 10 different directions. You might be going fast in one way, stop, go back, go to the right, go to the left. I'm not sure if you saw Miracle, but one of the main things is in the whole entire movie is to do those sprints back and forth.
Okay.
Blue line, red line, and whatnot. And the reason for that is it just builds up the legs.
Okay.
The legs are what you need. And at some point, they just tire out and you can't keep going.
Okay.
Which is why you'll see just quick shifts, especially in back-to-backs.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to do long shifts on a back-to-back, you're probably going to lose that back-to-back. At least the second half.
Okay. Cool. Because like in basketball, like if you go in for 30 seconds, you come right back out, you're like, oh my god, I must have shot like 4 air balls, got 2 fouls, like must have been horrible. Yeah. But in hockey, that's like a good thing. That means you have like a heart of like a lung of a lion or a giant or something.
Yeah.
All right, that was a pull. I'm definitely hard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's great. I mean, basketball. If you think about it, 30 seconds is just one series. Would you say?
Yeah, possession.
One possession.
Yeah.
Whereas in hockey, that could be the puck going one end of the ice and back to the other end of the ice.
Oh, so okay. Yeah, because you see them like swing, not swing, but hit the puck and it goes all the way around the we use this as a rink.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around the boards, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's an art to changing as well, right? So you don't want to change when you're on defensive zone. You don't want to change when right in center ice. So that's why you always see them exactly where they dump the puck into the other's defensive zone,
right,
or their offensive zone. So that they can have that time to change out real quick.
Oh, okay.
As well, if you do it when you're at center ice, the defense might not have a chance to get off the ice.
Okay.
So that's why you'll see them always try to shoot the puck hard down the ice.
Okay. Okay. Learning something here on the podcast here. That's what we're all about. So, speaking of the Islanders, let's go to JT, John Tavares.
I feel that was going to come up.
Yes. So, a lot of Islanders fans, if not all of them, are not too pleased with John Tavares, and he took it out on him this playoff series. I made a post about it, like how he's sleeping in bed, and there's all this like decked out like Toronto Maple Leafs, blanket and pillow, and then the next picture is a crying joining me. So, for those who don't understand why the Islanders fans were so tight, can you give them the backstory?
Yeah, but I think you'll notice I'm actually not wearing my Tavares shirt. I'm repping the orange today. I think the main reason is they just felt betrayed. Mm-hmm. Here you had what was the number 1 pick during a bad time in 08-09 when he came in. Mm-hmm. Pretty much was the face of the franchise for 10 years. And obviously they knew that his free agency was coming up. They knew that the Sun signed him or trade him.
Right.
And at the deadline, he actually told the Islanders, please don't trade me.
Okay.
I want to stay here.
Okay.
And obviously all Islander fans still on edge because, they're Islander fans versus Met fans where as much as you want to believe something is true, you just don't believe it.
Murphy's Law.
Exactly. Obviously entire offseason goes, the beginning, playoffs go by, then the next month goes by, the draft goes by, nothing's been done, John Tavares still not signed. And here we are, he's meeting with 10 teams during his, what they have now is that like free agency period beforehand. Okay. And on July 1st, everyone's sitting there anxiously waiting, and out comes a photograph of him in his pajamas, laying in bed, covered in Maple Leafs gear, which is obviously his hometown team, grew up in Toronto, which is all fine, right? Mm-hmm. I think the one thing is that Islander fans wouldn't have been so upset if he would have been honest from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Listen, there's probably a good chance I'm not re-signing here. Mm-hmm. And if you had gone to any other team other than Toronto, I also feel like it wouldn't have been so bad.
Right.
It was that you knew you were going to go home to your hometown team, the team you grew up with, which is also what he wrote in his Players Tribune article about how it was just a gut feeling. He wanted to go home. This was a team he rooted for. And you just knew that.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of like laid things on the line. Essentially, what Islander fans thought would be to lead them to last place finishes for the next few years and have them go into the doldrums and just be bad.
Right.
Obviously, not the case this year.
Nope.
But I think that's what everybody thought was going to happen. I mean, every sportscaster in the world predicted the Islanders coming 15th this year after that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just a feeling of betrayal that you're a star player that you've watched, you've seen grow up from an 18-year-old to, I mean, what would be now is 28, 29 during his prime, where you're thinking you're getting the good years. Just up and leaves and goes to his hometown team after telling everybody, no, I want to be here. This is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that feeling.
Yeah, and so his former team, the Islanders, sweep their first round opponent, the Pens.
Yep.
And then, but his Maple Leafs, they lose in the first round.
Yep.
And so all the Islanders fans had a field day with him on social media, like all these memes and things. I didn't post one on the gram.
I saw that. I think you tagged me in it as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of expected because obviously I was swept through, so they were sitting at home,
right?
Which I actually think wound up being a momentum killer. But then they're obviously watching everything unfold with that series with Boston,
mm-hmm.
and lo and behold, Game 7, John Tavares gets knocked out, and
yeah,
our fans are very, very happy. And he really got the unroyal treatment when he went to the Coliseum, to say the least.
Yeah,
so
got booed loudly.
Loudly had things thrown at him, his jersey burned in the parking lot.
Oh wow!
Obviously they were chanting random things. I think one of them was like, "Where's your jammies?" But yeah, I mean, I feel for that, right? I think he was one of the best players we've had over the last,
mm-hmm.
I would say over the last 20 years. He was regarded as that, and he probably would have been one of the players who may have actually had his jersey retired if it didn't go this way.
Right.
But unfortunately, memories of that go away very quickly.
Yeah. So do you think he has like any like sense of he can redeem himself with the Islanders fans?
There's one way. I think it'll be interesting if he does something very similar to like LeBron.
Okay.
Where he leaves and goes to Toronto. Now Toronto's one of those gilded franchises as well, where they're actually kind of like the Yankees of hockey,
right?
Where they go and they buy great players. They think all hockey players want to play for Toronto because it's the homeland of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
But if he were to come back after this contract is done, say I think it's a 7-year deal, maybe Islander fans will feel a little bit better. But I just also don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Also, by then he'll be mid-30s. I mean, can't really expect him to want to come back.
Right. Yeah, especially when you're already home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And surrounded by your parents and whatnot,
mm-hmm.
and all your family.
So Maple Leafs are their original 6 team, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's Rangers, Leafs, the Habs.
Correct.
Ottawa.
No.
Not Pittsburgh.
Nope.
Not Philly.
Nope.
Wait. Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Now I need 2 more. Montreal? Yeah, I already said Montreal.
You said the Habs.
Who are the last 2?
One now.
Oh, Chicago?
Correct.
Chicago and Detroit.
Bingo.
There we go. Yeah. So the original 6, the first 6 teams of the NHL, the National Hockey League, and then they keep expanding, and we're like, where are the Islanders? They came like in the 70s.
Ooh, yeah, much later. Yeah, they came in 72. I want to say it was. Yeah, 72 or 73. They started.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the New Long Island Americans, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, but they changed the name because it just didn't make any sense. So, yeah.
That's pretty funny. So, what about the future? Since we were talking about the past, what about the future? Since we were supposed to be, a lot of people were picking us to be 15th. We came tops of the division.
Yep.
We swept the Pens in the first round, and my guy Clutterbuck is doing work. Anders Lee's doing work. How do you see the Islanders moving forward in the future?
So this is going to be a very interesting offseason for the Islanders, I would say. It's very similar to 2016, where they went to the playoffs, lost in the first round, and they had some key free agents that were up, which were at that point Kyle Poso, Franz Nielsen, and Matt Martin.
Okay.
All 3 went to different places.
Right.
And eventually the Islanders brought some players back that just didn't mesh very well. This year, very similar. You have Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, Robin Leonard, who's obviously the goaltender that came in, Valtteri Filppula, Tom Kuhnackel, and a whole bunch of others.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be a team that can be drastically look very different come October this year.
Okay.
Future-wise, I think we're in a good direction. I think the great thing about the Islanders is that they've gotten, since they've brought in Lou Lamoriello now, as their new GM, who's taken over everything.
Right.
Built a new culture, brought in Barry Trotz, a Stanley Cup winning coach.
Right.
When you're listening to someone like that, who has just come off a cup, obviously you're going to believe everything he's saying. You think everything's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think under those two, future's bright. We have a great farm system. They actually last year, as much as everybody thought they were going to trade one of their draft picks, they actually used both of them, and arguably scored some players that dropped out of the top 10, and Oliver Wahlstrom and Noah Dobson,
Okay.
who were highly rated. One's obviously Wahlstrom being a left winger, Dobson a defenseman. Both were first line players for their for Team Canada and for USA.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, future's very bright for this team.
Okay. I like how you said we have a good farm system, and the Coliseum's nickname is a barn. So like
Yeah.
little pun.
One for you, one for me.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so we talked about the future. Let's talk about the past, our glorious past of winning 4 titles in a row. Basketball, you see a lot of teams winning 3 in a row. So winning 4 is pretty amazing.
Yep.
So tell me about the 79 to 83.
Correct.
Yeah, can you speak on that?
Yeah, so I was actually looking at a few things. Actually, before the playoffs started this year, Newsday ran a pretty interesting article about the Islander playoff years.
Mm-hmm.
And what people actually didn't realize, and I didn't actually realize this, is actually Islanders from 75 until 88 were in the playoffs every year.
Nice.
And got to either the second round or third round every time, or out of the cup for 5 straight years.
Okay.
Lost in the drive for 5.
Okay.
In '84 to the eventual Edmonton Oilers, the Gretzky-led Oilers, which
The great one.
yeah, I mean you have Gretzky, Messier, Yari Curry, Grant Fuhr. I mean, the team was loaded.
Yeah, of course.
But so were the Islanders, right? The Islanders, those teams don't exist anymore. And that team arguably was one of the best ever.
Right.
In what they were rating, another article I read was on ESPN, where they were ranking all dynasties, and the Islanders came second overall. Above the Canadians that won 5 straight, above the Oilers that won 4 straight after the Islanders. Since then, no team has won that has not won 4 straight Stanley Cups. They'd won 19 straight playoff series. Very rarely lost at home. There was a reason why it was called Fort Never Lose.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, you just went to the Coliseum. You did not come out and expect to win. There's I think 6 Hall of Famers on that team. Bunch of players who arguably were the best at their position. You can't. It's very hard to debate against those teams, and people try. And when a company like ESPN rates you number 2 all time, I think that says something.
That does, big time. So who's number 1 then?
If I recall, it was I think it's the Patriots.
Oh, just the franchise period.
Yeah, it was.
Not even hockey, just franchise
No,
period.
in all sports they rated it.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't just hockey. It was all sports. They rated the Islanders number 2 overall.
Wow. That's wow.
Yeah.
All sports. Basketball, football, hockey, and baseball, and they're number 2.
Yeah, I think they even had the Premier League, obviously, for soccer.
Oh, soccer too is a lot of
Because
fun.
obviously, back, I guess, some of those teams obviously have some great dynasties with Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, so on and so forth. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Wow. So how did you get started playing hockey?
I think it all started with, so my dad was a huge hockey fan.
Right.
And obviously I would hang out with him, watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
And just got really interested in what was going on. Just high speed, fast, great playmaking, great physical aspect, and just started shooting the puck a little bit.
Nice.
Playing a little bit there, around the driveway or basement, anywhere I could. And at the same time, as I was getting into hockey, those Mighty Ducks movies were coming out.
Yes.
So-
I love those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously pretending, you're Charlie Conway going on a breakaway, or
The Flying V.
exactly pretending to be the Flying V, or Fulton Reed with a slap shot from the point.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of started doing that, and as I grew and just got more and more into hockey, and really started skating and just learning the ins and outs of it, it became the game that I love.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, but actually for yourself, I mean, when we were in college, hockey was never on your radar.
No, not at all.
So when did this come about for you?
You brought it on to me. Yeah, because, I'm from Queens, so, like, Rangers, because it's New York City. And, like, the Islanders, messing with Long Island. Why? No. But they, like, just come out with me to the barn.
Yeah.
We'll go to a game. I went to a game. It's like, all right, this is cool. It's fast-paced. I watch a lot of basketball. Basketball's fast-paced. But, this is cool. Get a little hitting, too, which is a lot of fun. You don't get a lot of hitting in basketball until you get to the playoffs. So in the regular season game, you get a little hit. Like, oh, that's awesome, right? You can fight, whatever. It's pretty cool. And then I was like, it was a fun experience. We go again. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And we go again another time. Like, oh, this is great. And then another thing I will always remember, leaving the barn, because you're driving. Yeah. It's not like you're at the Garden at the Rangers game and you're leaving on the train. You're driving home, right? So everyone's like, let's go Islanders, but they're honking. It's like, brum, 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 brum. It's like, it's just madness. So, I mean, you had the exciting, fast-paced game in the range at the barn, and then you're leaving, and then everyone's pumped and honking their horns. It's just like a whole big fiasco, which I was like, this is really cool. And then plus the sweaters are really cool too. Yeah. I remember in high school, like we were the Christ King Royals, and then like it was a gold jersey with like burgundy like trim, and then like a giant like lion with a really massive mane and a crown, and it just looked so cool. And I remember in the 90s, like hockey jerseys were the thing too. Like I remember Black Moon. There was a song they got. They had a fire song. I still play it to this day. I just can't think of the name. But in the video, there was a guy. I think Buckshot Shorty, the lead rapper. He had like a Penn's jersey on.
The old school.
Yeah, the old school Pittsburgh Penguins jersey. And like I have a Penn State jersey, I have an Islanders jersey. Like it's just a really cool like item to wear. It's like I was talking earlier about rugbies, right?
Yeah.
We wear rugby is cool, and you can even wear like a hockey jersey. It's just as cool. It's a nice little leisure look, and it's still pretty cool. So
yeah, I tend to agree. I think when I was in high school, I wanted to buy like 4 or 5 different jerseys. Obviously, I got this one. I had a white Islander jersey as well, but I wanted the Flames had a really cool jersey at the time where it was like a flame head. And it was a black jersey, but with like a bright amber flame aspect.
Right.
The Coyotes had a pretty cool jersey.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Ducks, obviously, and then obviously I kind of wanted an Avalanche jersey because that's my team in the West.
Patrick Roy.
Exactly. That team. That was the other aspect. People in the '90s can kind of think of. So either the Red Wings or the Avalanche were the 2 best teams in the league. And
Steve Eisenman, yeah.
Whichever team won that series won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And they really went back and forth each year.
Right.
For I think it was like 4 or 5 years.
I remember I was playing NHL '98 on my PlayStation with me and my brother. And I remember always picking the Avs and always, because they had Patrick Roy, so like he was like my favorite player at that time. Now Kyle Clutterbuck's my favorite player. So yeah. So that's really cool. Actually, I'm talking about my high school hockey jersey. That jersey kind of reminded me of the Phoenix Coyotes jersey.
Okay.
The Coyotes jersey, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. All right, Suraj, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Same here, sir.
As always. Thank you for coming on to the Sports Leek Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Just make sure to follow Sports Leek Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and SoundCloud. I'm your host, Leek, signing out.